Welcome to the Certified Badass Online Marketing Podcast, where being a badass has less to do with what you wear and what music you listen to, and everything to do with whether you've got the thriving online business of your dreams. I'm your renegade thinking Harvard Law grad turned online entrepreneur host, Bobby Klink. In my years building my thriving business, the most important lesson I've learned is that being a badass online marketer isn't about secret strategies or ninja tactics. It's about doing the basic stuff right and showing the F up. So each week here on the show, you'll get clear, easy to execute guidance on how to build your online business and a swift kick in the ass or two to make sure you're getting it done. Hey there, welcome to today's Friday live episode of the Certified Badass Online Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Bobby Klink, and I'm going to be on a bit of a soapbox today because I'm going to be talking about something that I think is really, really important that people need to hear and that is going to be a bit different from what most people are hearing in the online space. Specifically, what I'm going to be talking about today is trying to get across the notion that selling and marketing are not the same thing. And what we're hearing in this space about marketing and people talking about as a job, our jobs as marketers, etc., is actually not marketing. It's selling. I'm going to help make that distinction so you understand it because it's an important distinction for everyone to get. So that's what we're talking about today. And today's going to be maybe a bit different than most of my live podcasts. For people who are here live, you're seeing my background, but I tend to normally have like 2 pages of kind of Sharpied notes for a podcast episode. Today I got 6, because this is something we really need to talk about. And so it's going to be a fun episode. I'm going to be talking about this thing. If you're catching the recording, good. You're still going to get all the great information. But before I dive in, I want to invite you, if you haven't yet grabbed a ticket, to grab a ticket to my virtual event, Badass Online Marketing Live. It's a virtual event happening, I guess it's 2 weeks from today. Yeah, on December 4th is when we start. It's a 3-day virtual event. We're going to be talking about marketing big picture, not selling. I'm going to be teaching people how I have built a marketing business that makes selling effortless, and I don't even really have to sell. So that's what we're going to be talking about. If you're interested, you can get all the details by heading to bobbyklink.com/bomb live, BOM live, bobbyklink.com/bomb live. Now, this episode, we're going to get down to the brass tacks. This episode was inspired by something I heard on a different podcast today. And I want to be clear. I am not attacking the person who said this, because I've said the same thing or some variation of the same thing. But the actual quote here was that our job as marketers is to get people to make decisions. And it was in the context of using scarcity and urgency during a launch, or in that context to get people to buy. And it got me thinking, because I started saying, well, wait a minute. Is that true? Is that actually what a job of a marketer is? It struck me as not correct. And so I did what I tend to do. I looked in my marketing book, and then I went and looked in my marketing management book. And what I'll tell you is neither one of them says that the job of a marketer is to help people make decisions. Neither one of them says that marketing is about selling. It actually says something completely different. And this kind of sparked a thought in my head, because what marketing actually is it is about finding and meeting an unmet need or demand in the market. Now, when you listen to that, that doesn't sound like getting people to make decisions. That's not what that sounds like. And that's because it's not. And so that kind of, this little thing that happened in my head when I heard that quote, and I thought about it, because like I said, I've said it too. I've said, look, your job is to get people to decide that they should get off the fence. But that's the wrong mentality. That is part of a selling mentality. And it's because what we are hearing and what most of us are thinking about in the online marketing space actually is not marketing, it is selling. And that's what inspired this. And I wanted to do this. And so I sent an email out. If you got my email earlier, and that's why you're here listening to this, I'm very glad I did, because my friend Alicia responded. She actually has a marketing background, and she responded like thanking me for sending it. But she also gave me a couple of pieces of information, which I added this whole page to my outline because of it. She took the time of going to the dictionary, and sales or selling is defined as operations and activities involved in promoting and selling goods and services, right? So that's what sales is. It's the stuff you do to promote and sell. Marketing is defined completely differently. And she gave me the quote from the American Marketing Association, which is wonderful. Marketing is the activities, set of institutions and processes for creating, communicating, delivering, and exchanging offerings that have value to customers, clients, partners, and society at large. Now, when you listen to that definition, marketing does not sound very much like selling, because selling has nothing to do with creating the right offer. It has nothing to do with delivering the right offer. Now, maybe it has some little bits to do with communicating and exchanging value, but even in communicating, it is a much broader principle. But just as importantly, the definition of marketing is not limited to what I do in talking to my customers. It has to do with everything that I do. It has to do with me talking to my customers, but listening to my customers. It has to do with me talking to my partners, but listening to my partners. And it has to do with what I'm doing with respect to society at large. So when you step out and listen to that definition, you start to say, oh yeah, this Bobby guy might be on to something, that selling and marketing are different. And when I thought about this, and I was kind of trying to think about how could I put in a sense what the American Marketing Association puts in kind of markety speak, in jargon, into plain English. And what I came up with is this: that the job of a marketer is to put the right product in front of the right person at the right time. And that is really kind of, if you step back and you kind of say, okay, that's good, but there's a lot involved in that, because you got to figure out what the right product is. You got to create the right product. You've got to do those things. And then you have to be putting it in front of the right people. And when you put it in front of the right people, you don't have to worry about all of this other gimmickry that a lot of us are being taught to use. And especially, I wanted to highlight that right time. Because the right time is something that I think so many people are missing. Because literally, we are encouraging people, and we're being encouraged to use tactics that are about creating FOMO. And I'm guilty of this. I literally, at some point when I was partnering with someone in a launch, I talked about FOMO, and I said, I'm going to create a FOMO something. I don't even remember what it was. But the notion was that I understood that FOMO, fear of missing out, was what was motivating for people. Not that that offer was right for them at that right moment. That was me selling, not me marketing. But I want to go deeper. I've used this quote before, and I want to read it again because I think it is really one of the most powerful, important quotes that we as marketers should hear. It's from this guy, Peter Drucker. If you don't know who Peter Drucker is, he's like a famous management consultant, business thinker. And here's what he said. He said, there will always, one can assume, be need for some selling. But the aim of marketing is to make selling superfluous. The aim of marketing is to know and understand the customer so well that the product or service fits. So the product or service fits him and sells itself. Ideally, marketing should result in a customer who's ready to buy. All that should be needed then is to make the product or service available. In other words, when you market right, selling is as easy as saying, hey, here's my thing. Do you want it? And they say, well, I sure do. You created the perfect product for me at this perfect time. That is what marketing is. Now, I want you to think back when I gave you that definition from the American Marketing Association, and I read that quote from Peter Drucker. Does any of that sound like using scarcity tactics or urgency tactics, or like creating fake values that we put? So we're 10xing, we're saying that we're going to charge you $100, but it's worth $1,000. Or does it include things like bonus stacking, like saying, you're also going to get this, and you're also going to get that, and you're also going to get this. And wait, there's more. No. Marketing is not about gimmicks. Marketing is not about any of that BS. That's the stuff that you do when you haven't marketed right. Because if you've marketed right, and by the way, I want to be clear, marketing is as much about listening as it is about talking. So if you have done marketing right, you have listened to your customers. You know what they want, what they need, what their problems are. And you've created a product that meets that need. Not something that you decided, well, I think it'd be cool to create this, so I'm going to create it, and then I'm going to go try to find someone to buy it. You don't do that. Now, again, I'm someone who's going to tell you, I don't always actually answer what people say they want, because I don't believe that customers always want what they need. An example I use about this is, for example, I don't create templates for email because I don't believe in that. I believe that will sabotage you. And so because of that, I'm willing to forego that piece of the market. But the idea is that when you do marketing right, you listen to your people, you understand them at such a deep level that you can create the perfect product that doesn't need gimmickry, that doesn't need you to sound like the worst of an infomercial, pitch person to try to sell. You can say, hey, here's my thing. Do you want it? And people say, yep, I sure do. That's how marketing is done in the real world. That's how people build real businesses. The problem is we in the online world want shortcuts. We want someone to tell us that there is a way that we can short circuit this, that we can make money quicker, that we can actually get people to buy faster, that we can do all of those things. And what I'll tell you is, I'm not going to deny that using selling tactics can give you some short-term success. It can. There is no doubt that using scarcity, that using urgency, that using all of this gimmickry can get more people to buy from you right now. But what I'll tell you is that real businesses aren't worried about today. They are worried about a year from now, 5 years from now, a decade from now. And they're worried about, how do I serve my customers the best way possible? They're not saying, I actually want to worry about how do I make the most money. Now another, by the way, definition or distinction that some people make between sales and marketing is that marketing is consumer focused. It is about meeting the needs of the consumer, while selling is based on the focus of the person selling, that they need to convert something they have into money. So again, it is an outward focus of serving is what actually marketing is. Selling is self-serving. Now, I know we tell ourselves these stories and we say, well, selling is service and there's magic in the transaction, and getting people to put money behind it is what actually makes them take action. And I'm going to be honest with you. I believe that everyone who says that honestly believes that to their core. But what I'm going to tell you is I believe that's the biggest bunch of BS in the world. I believe we have convinced ourselves of that because we want it to be true to give us a reason to do this. I've had people who've gotten things from me for free who have taken incredible action. I've gotten things for free and taken incredible action. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. When you give stuff away for free, you also get a bunch of people who aren't action takers. That's reality. But it's not because, the reason why people didn't succeed isn't because you didn't charge. And the reason why people do succeed isn't because you charged. It's a correlation causation problem. And that's an issue for another day, so I'm not going to spend too much time on that. But what I want you to get is that at the end of the day, real businesses are built on marketing, are built on serving their people the best way possible to build something for the long term. Because you know what? The used car salesperson infomercial shtick gets really freaking old. And it's not the way that you build goodwill, that you build return customers, that you build the people who are going to be in love with you and are going to be here 5 years from now. That comes from marketing, not selling. So again, this episode was not planned in advance of today. This was not something that I had and I used an excuse. I literally was going to be talking today about something very different. I was going to say, don't just automatically take what I say as given. And I want you still to do that. And I want you to understand that this is why I gave you those quotes. And Alicia is here. Luckily, I'm seeing this live. She's commenting. I'm so glad she gave me that quote from the American Marketing Association, because I want you to listen to the American Marketing Association. I want you to listen to Peter Drucker, not me. I'm telling you these things because I know them to be true. But this is something that I have seen over and over again. And I think it gets to the core of what so many people struggle with in the online space. Because let's be honest, most people don't want to be salespeople. We just don't. I know I don't. Again, partly because sales is self-centered. Marketing is outward, is customer service. And so I want people to understand that. And I see so many people struggle with it. And what I've done, and in my business, we've come up with this thing that we now call the Badass Online Marketing Framework, which is kind of a framework for marketing. And to be honest with you, when I originally created it, I was thinking about calling it the Effortless Sales Framework because, evidently I was onto something. This whole Peter Drucker idea of, hey, when you market right, selling is easy is true. But I didn't want to make it about sales, so I changed the name to make it about marketing, but it is true. When you market right, this stuff works. The problem is most people don't want to market. They don't want to take the time to really niche, really find their people, really listen, really understand, really take the time to serve, to build goodwill, to do all of those things that real businesses outside of our space do every day. If you want your online business to actually serve you over the long term, to be here in a year, in 5 years, in a decade, it's pretty simple. Stop selling and start marketing. That's my call to action for you today. Enjoy your weekend, and I will be back again next week. That's it for this episode of the Certified Badass Online Marketing Podcast. Make sure to tune in next time. And in the meantime, go out and build the badass business of your dreams.